2 weeks passed before I saw her again. We met at a quiet place, no drama, just a conversation that needed to happen. She looked different, tired, maybe ashamed. I didn't feel anger anymore, just exhaustion. She started by saying she hadn't spoken to Mark since ending things, that she was focusing on herself, on therapy. She said she still loved me. I told her I believed her, but that wasn't the point anymore. Love isn't always enough when trust is gone. We talked for over an hour. She cried. I didn't. I'd already cried all my tears when I was alone. She admitted she had been selfish, that she was looking for attention and validation, and didn't realize how deep she'd gone until it was too late. I didn't argue, I just listened. At the end of it, she asked if I wanted to try again. I told her I didn't know. I moved into a small apartment the following week. She stayed in the house. We agreed on space, no promises, no pressure. I started therapy on my own, and for the first time in years, I talked honestly about the resentment I'd built up, about how I felt invisible sometimes, about how I kept pushing through life without checking in with myself. I wasn't perfect in our marriage, and I finally admitted that. But I also knew I didn't cause her betrayal. That choice was hers. We met a few more times, each one less emotional than the last. Something between us had shifted permanently. There was no more pretending, no more softening the truth. Eventually, she stopped suggesting we try again. Maybe she realized what I had, that the version of us we missed didn't exist anymore. Months passed. I started feeling lighter, more present. I picked up old hobbies. I reconnected with friends I'd drifted from. I stopped checking my phone waiting for her messages. I stopped picturing her with him. I accepted that healing isn't clean. It's messy and slow and full of steps backward. But one day, I woke up and realized I hadn't thought about them at all the day before. That was progress. 6 months later, I heard through a mutual friend that she and Mark had tried seeing each other again, but it didn't last. It didn't surprise me. They were built on a lie. I didn't feel smug. I didn't feel anything. That chapter had closed. She messaged me once after that, a short, simple line. "I hope you're doing okay." I didn't respond. Not out of bitterness, but because I finally was okay. I didn't need to reopen that door. I had survived something that broke me, and I rebuilt myself from it. I still think about her sometimes, not with anger or longing, just memory. She was a huge part of my life, but I don't miss the pain. I don't miss the doubt. And I don't miss the version of myself who stayed silent to keep peace. Now I choose peace over everything, even if it means being alone. 3 days later, I called Mark. I told him we needed to talk. No small talk, no fake politeness. I gave him a location and said to meet me there. He hesitated, but agreed. When he showed up, he looked nervous, like a man already caught but still hoping to explain it all away. I didn't let him speak first. I asked one question. "Did you sleep with her?" His mouth opened, then closed. He rubbed his hands together, avoided my eyes, and finally said, "Once." I didn't react, not visibly. I'd already assumed the worst. Hearing it out loud only made it official. I asked when. He told me the night I was out of town, that it was a mistake, that they were both feeling confused, that it wasn't planned. He even said, "It just happened." That line made something in me snap. I asked if it was worth it, if wrecking a friendship, ruining a marriage, destroying trust was worth a moment of confusion. He didn't answer. He started to apologize, but I cut him off. I told him I wasn't interested in apologies. I told him I would never forget what he did. He tried to explain how it started, texts, then emotional connection, then one bad decision. I didn't care. It was betrayal, not confusion. They both made a choice again and again, and this was the result. I left without another word. There was nothing else to say. On the way back, my phone buzzed, a message from her. She said she had told him it was over, that she regretted everything, that she wanted to fix things. I didn't respond. I didn't know how to respond. Part of me still loved her. Another part couldn't stand to hear her voice. The next day, she called. I answered. I didn't yell. I asked what she wanted. She said she wanted to work through it. She wanted counseling, forgiveness, a second chance. I asked her why now. She said because losing me made her realize how far she'd drifted, that she had never stopped loving me. It sounded desperate. It sounded real. But trust doesn't come back just because someone asks. I told her I needed time. She said she'd wait. I hung up and sat there thinking, if we tried again, would I ever stop wondering where she was, who she was texting, what she wasn't telling me? Could I live with that doubt? Could I sleep next to someone who'd chosen someone else, even for a moment? I kept thinking about how things used to be before it all crumbled. I didn't know if I missed her or just missed who we were. That's when I realized I couldn't make this decision out of guilt or habit. I needed clarity, not chaos. I needed to figure out who I was without her before deciding if I wanted to be with her again. And for the first time in days, I knew that choice had to be mine alone. I sat in my car for nearly an hour, gripping the steering wheel, trying to make sense of what I'd just heard. The name she said kept echoing in my head. Mark, my friend, someone I'd trusted. We'd known each other for years. He'd been at our wedding. We watched football together, shared beers, even talked about our relationships. I thought he was the kind of person who would never cross that line. Apparently, I didn't know him as well as I thought. The pieces started fitting together in ways I hadn't noticed before. The texts he used to show me, the ones from a girl he was seeing, the jokes, the vague excuses when he couldn't hang out. The way he once complimented my wife, calling her charming as hell. I'd brushed it off. Maybe I didn't want to see it. Maybe part of me already knew something was off, but I ignored it. I couldn't stop thinking about the two of them talking behind my back, maybe laughing at my cluelessness. I thought about every time she smiled at her phone when I walked into the room, every time she stayed late at yoga. It burned, not just because she betrayed me, but because she didn't come to me first. I would have listened. I would have tried. I would have done anything to fix us. She texted me that night, a long message saying she was sorry, that she didn't expect me to forgive her, but she needed to be honest. She said it wasn't about Mark, it was about how disconnected she felt, that she didn't recognize us anymore, that she missed being seen. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I turned my phone off. I thought about our marriage, how we used to talk for hours in bed, how we laughed over the dumbest things. When did we lose that? I blamed myself for working too much, for taking things for granted. But I also knew I didn't deserve this. No one does. If she was unhappy, she should have said something, not gone to someone else, and especially not him. The next morning, I went back to the house. Not to talk, I just needed clothes. She was there, sitting on the couch like she hadn't slept. Her eyes were red. She looked up at me, opened her mouth, but I walked past her. She didn't follow. I packed a bag and left without a word. That night I stayed at my brother's place. I didn't tell him the details, just that I needed space. He didn't ask questions. He gave me a beer and let me sit in silence. I appreciated that more than he'll ever know. It was the first time in days I felt like I could breathe. I lay awake thinking, overanalyzing everything. Did I miss warning signs? Was I emotionally unavailable? Was I so focused on providing that I forgot how to be present? Maybe, but none of that justified what she did. And I couldn't stop asking myself the one question that mattered most: what do I do now?